Hello everyone, thank you for joining me today. I thought I'd come out to the park to do this video. So I'm just relaxing here with some tea, lychee fruit tea, and we're going to discuss why a narcissist would disappear without a trace. So I've got 10 reasons for you today. Of course, the first reason, the most obvious reason, is that they found a new supply. They found a new source of attention and validation. Someone who doesn't know who they are, and someone who they haven't learned yet. But yeah, most importantly, someone who doesn't know what they're dealing with. Because that's just it. You've begun to catch on to their game. You start to realize what you're actually dealing with. And so you're no longer such a potent source of supply. They want someone to see them as perfect, as though they can't do anything wrong. But you're beginning to see through them. You're beginning to wake up. And they don't like that. So this is why many of them will disappear, because they found a new supply. They find someone else to regulate their emotions, to validate them and make them feel important. The second reason why a narcissist disappears without a trace, it's because they want to make you feel abandoned. They want to make you feel like you've done something wrong, or that you're not good enough. It's a silent punishment to make you feel powerless, to just leave you questioning yourself, and to overanalyze the situation, to ruminate about everything. And most importantly, it's because they just want you to care. These are people who no one ever really cared about, who they really are underneath the mask. So they seek excessive attention and validation to make up for everything that they didn't have in their childhood. So they want you to care about them in some sort of way. And this is why they will go silent. They will abandon you and leave you feeling dependent, leaving you feeling like you need them. When actually, no, that's how they felt before they went silent. That's what they were going through. And so a lot of this is really just projection. They put their emotions onto you. They make you feel how they felt before they did what they did to you. The third reason why a narcissist disappears without a trace is as a control tactic. Because they were feeling insecure while they were in contact with you, while they were still around you, while they were still there. So then by them disappearing, they start to feel more in control by pulling the rug from underneath your feet, taking away your sense of stability, your sense of regulation. They strip that from you. And of course they do that by them suddenly vanishing, which then leaves you chasing after them. Because you're seeking answers, closure, validation. You want to know what just happened. You want to know what went wrong. And many narcissists, they're not people who like to talk about things. They don't want to give you closure. Because of course, if they were to conversate with you, if you were to talk about it, it would only reveal that they were the problem. And that's why they typically don't like to discuss it. They don't want to discuss why they disappear. Or even when you leave, they don't want to talk about it. Because they already know that it has something to do with them. And that's why they will typically avoid that discussion. And instead they will just disappear. To leave you feeling unseen, unheard, and to leave you chasing after them. And of course that also gives them supply. It validates them. Because initially they felt insecure. They feel like they were wrong. But then if they can still get you to chase after them, that tells them that maybe they didn't do something wrong. Maybe there aren't so many things wrong with them, because if there were, then why are you wanting anything to do with them? Why are you chasing after them for answers? Even though they twist it and make it about as though you're not chasing after them for answers, it's more because of the desirability factor, because they're just such wonderful people who never did anything wrong. Or sometimes it's because you're just not smart enough, you can't figure things out, you can't understand it. And they're so smart, they're so crafty, they're so clever. So you've got to get the answers from them. It makes them feel powerful because they strip your power away from you. If this is making sense to you so far, please give it a thumbs up. Let's work together to get this video out there. I'm sure there's so many people who want to know, why did the narcissist disappear without a trace? Because of course, I understand it can be very confusing. It can make you wonder how and why that just happened. The fourth reason why a narcissist disappears without a trace. It's because they're avoiding accountability. So maybe you start questioning them, you were on them, you wanted answers, you wanted to know what is going on. Maybe they gave you lies, future faking. They scammed you, they conned you, they made you believe in a possible future with them. And then after a certain amount of time, they pulled the rug out from underneath you. And it's leaving you confused, it's leaving you wonder what is going on. Naturally, you're seeking a sense of closure, resolution, understanding. Because you don't think the way they do. You don't think like a predator, a monster. But this is how they think, and it leaves us chasing after them, questioning them, trying to figure out what is going on. Trying to understand things from their perspective, trying to understand their behaviors, why they do what they do. And narcissists don't like that because, again, they know that they're doing something wrong. They know that the problem is with them. And that's why they don't want to show up as themselves. They don't want to be present with you, vulnerable, open. Because that makes them feel like they're in danger, threatened. Because they know they are doing you wrong. So they feel threatened by you when you criticize them, confront them, ask them questions. That's not a good feeling for them at all. It puts a lot of pressure on them. And just think about how much pressure they're under already to keep up their false persona. And with you acting in opposition towards it, with you questioning it, then it just adds even more pressure. And they just want to take the heat off themselves, so they just run away. They just disappear. So that you no longer have access. You can no longer communicate with them, to further question them, to hold them accountable. Because they want to continue living in their fantasy world. They want to continue manipulating people, getting supply. How can they do that when you're always on them, when you're expecting them to show up, to be accountable? It makes it very difficult for them, and this is why many of them will just disappear without a trace. They're not going to stick around. For you to still be on them. For you to be asking them questions. For you to want to know what you want to know. They're not going to stick around for you to do that. And instead, yes, they are going to go. They are going to disappear without a trace. Because it's all about pressure. For them to conform, for them to give you answers. They're trying to do the opposite. They're trying to suppress it. Deep down. Forget about it. Yes, they want to do things to you at the moment. They want to manipulate you. They want to cheat on you, lie to you, betray you. They want to do all of that stuff. They don't want to be held accountable for it, though. They don't want to deal with the consequences. They don't want to answer for it. They just want to forget about all that. They want to move past it. And then they want to leave you wondering, confused, questioning and blaming yourself, thinking that something is wrong with you. That's how they want it to go. They want you to overextend yourself. They don't want to have to put in any effort themselves unless it's giving you the false character. They can give you that all day as long as they think that you'll believe in it. But yeah, when it comes to holding them accountable, they want nothing to do with that. They want to avoid responsibility. They want to continue living in a fantasy. And if you're opposing that, if you're against that, then they just get rid of you. They just forget about you. They just give you time to cool off, hoping that you will forget what they did. Because they don't ever want to come back to reality. They don't ever want to show up as themselves. Five. Sometimes they disappear just because they're bored. Just because it's not fulfilling for them anymore. It's no longer exciting, thrilling. So they've lost interest. And it's because they've already learned you, they've already figured you out, they've already seen everything that you have to offer. They think they know everything that they need to know. And so a new person, a new situation looks more exciting. And you know, when this happens, when a narcissist gets bored, there's really not too much you can do about it. If you try harder, if you put in more effort, you're just going to look too needy. And to them, it's just going to reveal your insecurities, your deficiencies. Because it's like, why do you have to work overtime to get their attention, to please them? Why can't you just do it naturally? And it just makes them want to leave even more. Because they know it's not going to get any better, and typically it never does. The more effort that you put in, the worse that it gets. And really the best thing that you can do when this happens, when they get bored, is to just not do anything. If anything, try less. Don't try more. Trying more is not going to solve anything. It's not just going to suddenly spark their interest. just because you're putting in more effort, it doesn't work out that way. And it's kind of like a reverse psychology. Well, they take it as that. It makes them even more curious about what else they could be involved in outside of you. Because it's like, why are you trying to pull them away? Why are you making more effort now? It never works out that way. When you come at it with jealousy, insecurity, it makes someone to leave even more. And this is the case even with those who aren't narcissistic. It can just push them away. The more that you're chasing after them, the more that you're trying to get their attention. Sometimes it's best just to do less, try less, if you want them to come back. But yeah, typically it's because, you know, they think the grass is greener on the other side. And a lot of this starts out with a fantasy. So they're imagining something in their minds of what they think is going to be like somewhere else. They may already have a target that they've scoped out. And they feel like they've figured you out. They've already seen everything. There's nothing more that they can really see from you that's going to change anything. And that's why they won't even give you a warning. They will just drop you and go somewhere else. Because they feel like the movie's over. The credits are rolling. And there's nothing more in it for them. And remember, they're all about themselves. They're not just sticking around for what makes you feel good. They're always looking at it like, what's in it for them? Enjoying this tea. It's really good. Lychee with jelly. All right, are you ready for number 6? The 6th reason why a narcissist disappears without a trace. It's because of their fear of exposure. When their lies start to catch up to them, gradually you're going to see less and less of them. You're going to hear less and less from them. Until gradually they just fizzle out. They just disappear. It's not always going to be immediate. If they just feel like you're starting to creep up on them, you're starting to figure things out, typically they've already got a plan beforehand. They're already looking at it. All right, I'll let it go on for this long, but once it gets to this point, once they start to catch on, then I'm out of you. Then I'm going to disappear. Because they want to be in a position of control. So they've already got it planned out beforehand. They already know how things are going to go. Nothing is ever spontaneous with a narcissist. It's always planned out. They can't be vulnerable. They're never going to let things play out naturally, because of course that would put them at a disadvantage. That means that you could catch them out. So that's never going to happen. And yet many of you do look at it that way. You feel like you've caught them out in a lie. But a lot of times they just did that purposely. They wanted to leave that hint, that clue for you to find. This is what narcissists and psychopaths like to do. They like to give you little clues of what they're doing behind the scenes. Because they like it when you chase after them. It makes them feel important. But it's not so much that you've caught them off guard. If you have, you will often see the narcissistic injury and rage. But when you're not seeing that, it's typically because it was planned beforehand. And they were already ready, they were already prepared. And sometimes even the rage can just be orchestrated. As crazy as that sounds, I mean, remember, these are people who are mentally ill. They may even plan to deliberately lash out at you. And because they like to keep you in fear, they want to keep you off balance. Seven. They disappear without a trace because they're playing the victim. So they're trying to guilt trip you, they're trying to make you feel like something is wrong with you, something is wrong with what you did, and so they just disappear. And that's the effect that they want to have on you. Those are the types of emotions that they want to leave you with. Feeling guilty. Feeling like you could have done better. You could have done more. And it's not always that. It's also, they could be busy garnering sympathy and attention from other sources. And that's how they're able to disappear and not need it from you. But also, this leads me to number 8, which is testing your reaction. They want to see, how are you going to respond to this? Will you chase after them? Will you beg them to return? Do you still buy into the illusion? Do you still believe that it could be something real? Because typically that was the problem. That's why they disappeared anyway. It's because you no longer believed in it. You no longer validated the illusion. So they assume, all right, if this isn't working, the engagement, then what if they disappear? What if they pull back? Maybe that will make you believe in it a bit more. And so that's what they do. They disappear to test your reaction, to see how you're going to respond to it. And then they know what's going to be their next move to have further control over you. And typically if it works, they're going to do it again. And they're just going to go back and forth, deliberately just seeing how much they can get out of you, seeing how much you're going to chase after them, how much you're going to submit to them just to get them back, how much control they can have over you. And this is why the best response to that, when they disappear and they're testing your reactions, the best response is to not react. Do not chase after them. Act indifferent. Because then they're going to begin to feel insecure, because it's all for your attention and validation. It's all to get something out of you. And if you just leave them with nothing, then they've got to crawl back to you. But of course, that's a problem as well, because it's like, yeah, if you ignore them, if you go no contact, you still can't get them to leave you alone. then they see it as a game, then they want to regain control. So sometimes it can be good just to pretend. Just to act like, oh no, I'm so sorry. What did I do wrong? I want you back. Sometimes it is best just to do that, because then they feel like they've got power and control over you. And then you're less likely to hear from them for a certain amount of time. If they think that you're still suffering, if you feel like you've lost something, then they're going to carry on. So that can work sometimes too. Of course, it all depends what you want. Because I know, of course, many of you, there's an emotional connection there. I mean, maybe not between you and them, but your feelings are real. It feels real to you. You feel like you have something. You feel like you know and love this person. So yeah, you may want them to come back. And honestly, if you want them to come back, the best thing you can do is act indifferent. Don't give them a reaction. It's kind of sad when you think about it, but this is how it is with most people. Even outside of narcissists, is that if you're giving, if you're reacting, if you're wanting something, then they feel they're in control. They feel secure. So they don't need anything from you. It's only when you're not really that interested in them, when you're just doing your own thing and you feel secure in yourself, then they feel insecure. Unfortunately, this is how it is most of the time. And that's why, it's really best just to focus on you. And to not worry too much about another person. And to hope that the person that you're with has their own thing to do as well. But yeah, if you're finding this helpful so far, give it a thumbs up. Let's get this message out there. The 9th reason why a narcissist disappears without a trace. It's because they're securing backup supply. So they're already testing the waters with someone else. They're seeing how far it can go with them. They're seeing if they can manipulate and control them, as they did with you, because they get very cocky, arrogant. After dealing with you, they feel like almost invincible, like they can do anything. And that should really remind you of your worth, because it's like, so after gaining control over you, after manipulating you, now they feel invincible because you're that great. And yet they've trained you to not see yourself in that way. But this is what they do once they've got you. A lot of times, after they've been with you for a certain amount of time, then they want to run off and test their power with someone else. It's like, wow, if I can manipulate this person, who else can I trick? That's how they think of it. Now that's why many of them will disappear after a certain amount of time, and sometimes even in the love bombing phase, if they're not too attached to you or to what they've idealized about you, because they want to test their power. They're thinking, if I can run this game on this person, who else can I do it to? And they may also use you. And this is why, they like to do nice things with you, take you to nice places in the love bombing phase, because then sometimes they can use that and it acts as social proof. Because then someone else may look at it and think, so they were with this person. They went to these places. and then it makes them appear as a certain type of character. And yeah, believe it or not, but this actually works for them. It does work. Where they could then go off into another situation and they could become successful somewhere where previously they wouldn't have had any success there. But now by them going there, now they are successful. After they've run a certain game on you and people are aware of it, it can give them more power in other social situations. This is what they do. They treat people as stepping stones because they want to climb the social ladder. And I know many of you have seen what I'm talking about. It's like they come into your life, they're all in with you. And then suddenly it's like, it could be something where they're taking pictures of your house, your cars, putting it up on their social media or showing some random people when you go out to a restaurant or something. And it's like, what are they trying to do? You know, clearly they are trying to use you to climb the social ladder and to acquire connections in higher places. People that they never would have known about before, they never would have had access to. People who are far out of their league. People who are just at a level they will never get to. And yet, you know what narcissists are like, you know, they view people as extensions of themselves and they probably think that that's a part of them in some sort of way. It's crazy, but this is how they think. They literally use you for your friends, for your connections, and then they, by the end of it, they cut you out of it. And then suddenly your friends aren't your friends anymore. Your connections are no longer yours, and now suddenly they're sitting at the dinner table with your family and they're talking about investments. And it's like they've just taken your spot. They've taken your place from you. And this is what they like to do. They always like to butt in and just keep other people out. They want to take your place from you, and they know that the best way to do that is one of the oldest tactics, divide and conquer. But yeah, for some of you, and you know, I'm sorry to say this, for those of you who are emotionally invested in the narcissist. But yeah, number 10 is that it could be a permanent discard. It may be that they are finally done with you. And sometimes this could be at the very first time that they leave you. Or it could be after several times. I mean, on average, a narcissist will discard their victim 7 times before it's finally all over. It depends on how strong you are, how resistant. But yeah, if you're very strong, if you're not highly susceptible to their manipulation, they may just cut you off permanently on the first go. Because they know you're not going to believe in their lies. They know you're going to cash them out at some point. It's too threatening for them. They know at some point you're going to gather intel, you're going to expose all of their operations, and so that's why they just get rid of you as a protection measure. It's to guard, protect themselves, because they're fearful. You know, they have to protect themselves because they're weak, that's why. And that's really what it is, it's a weakness. That's why they will give you a permanent discard. Because you are strong and they are weak. And also they don't like that about you because they want to be strong. So for them it's like, you know, if you are around them for a certain amount of time, they start thinking that you need them and you can't do without them. So then they just get rid of you, they discard you permanently. And then in their minds they're thinking, how strong are you now? Now they just cut you off completely for good. And yeah, they're hoping that it's going to break you. And that you're going to be holding on for years. This is what they do. And honestly, they're thinking of you. They think of us like a dog. Thinking that we're just going to be waiting by the door, waiting for them to come home. That's how they think. But yeah, you don't have to prove anything to them. Prove it to yourself that you can be strong and that you can move on. Because that's the best thing that you can do. And I know that's what many of you will do. But yeah, these are the 10 reasons why a narcissist disappears without a trace. And honestly, you know, what I would say is that it's the best thing that can happen to you. It's a blessing in disguise. They've done you a favor. Because you have dodged a bullet. There's nothing worse than being around a narcissist. These are some of the worst people to be around. They are empty, miserable people. And they will consume you, devour you, until there's nothing left of you. But yeah, I would like to hear from you. Let me know if you have any questions down below in the live chat. A little Q&A for you. You know how I do. We could discuss about anything I've said in this live video. Or if you have any other questions about any other topics of narcissism, let me know. And also drop a comment in the comment section underneath the video. Let me know if there's any other reason why you believe the narcissist disappeared without a trace. Because I love to hear from you as well, from your personal experiences. I'm always looking to learn more. I never feel like I know it all, even after 7 years of research. I know there's always more to learn, and that's why I want to hear from you. Our Michael says, I ended up getting in better shape, better style, making more money, smelling like YSL. I upgraded from that slime bucket. Glad to hear that, our Michael. And that's what I want for all of you. I want you all to upgrade from these pathetic illusions, because you are so much more greater than that. You deserve something real. You deserve something that is your equal, something that is on your level, because all you do is just try your best to be the most authentic version of you. So why shouldn't you get a reflection of that, instead of something that is just meant to manipulate you? Because of course, you know, that's just what they do. Tito says, I live on validation and feel disgusting towards others. Am I a narcissist? You know, it's not that simple. Just because, as you said, you live on validation, that doesn't make you a narcissist. I mean, that's like one trait of a narcissist, is that they require excessive validation and admiration. It takes 4 or 5 traits to diagnose a narcissist. And even then, you know, I'm not a psychiatrist, I can't diagnose you. But off of my research and experience, I know that validation seeking isn't enough. There has to be some other traits as well. There has to be manipulation, exploitation, grandiosity. There's other traits as well. The lack of empathy. So, just validation seeking alone, that doesn't make you a narcissist. But if you're aware enough of that, maybe pay attention to if you're being a bit too selfish with seeking validation for yourself, and try to be more considerate for other people and maybe validate them too. So that's all you have to do. If you notice that, it's not such a big thing where it's like, oh no, I seek validation, that means I'm dangerous, I've got a mental illness. It's not like that at all. And it's good you have the self-awareness, you know, it means you can make the changes on yourself. Because these narcissists, they're not self-aware. They don't see themselves. They can only see a reflection of who they want to be in you. Well, as for us, of course, it's like we see a reflection of everything we're not in the narcissist. And that's how it becomes a problem for us. Aaron Michael says, my new girl after her was an upgrade as well, in literally every single way. She caught us on our first date. Good for you, Aaron Michael. Glad to hear you're moving on. But what I would say is, you know, try and just keep them out of your business, out of your life. You know, don't let them see what you're doing. I mean, you don't need their toxic energy to witness your life. I mean, yeah, you know, you can transmute the energy into something positive, but it's just not needed. I mean, your life is going to be much better without narcissists. You don't need them to be there. And you know, we got to get ourselves to a point where we no longer need to prove a point to them. We no longer need their validation, closure, answers. And instead, we can reframe everything that they fed to us and we can create our own narrative. You should never really care about what they think of you. And eventually you will get to that point as you begin to heal. And I can tell you, I'm pretty much at that point right now. And even with just most people in general, I don't really care what they think of me. Because I look at most people and it's like, I'm stronger, wiser, more independent than you are anyway. So why would I care what you think of me? But I will admit that before, I did care a lot about what people thought back then. But all of that has changed now. Now I just don't really care at all. And I hope that will continue into the future. Because there's much more freedom, there's more peace. You can just be yourself. And that's how it is for me, you know, I can go anywhere and I can just be myself wherever I go. I can make a live video for you and I don't have to put on an act. I don't have to pretend to be something I'm not. I could just be me. And yeah, you know, it's so freeing to be self-validated. To not depend on other people's validation anymore. That will come in time though, of course, you know, at the beginning of the healing journey, you may want answers, you may need validation. And that's okay, you know, it takes time. Memory says there's simple online tests you can take. Most narcissists won't even consider they have the disorder. You know, I don't think I ever even took a narcissist test. I didn't even bother because I know that all of the answers I need are within myself. The best test for you is your self-awareness. It comes from you reflecting on yourself. That's where you're going to find out everything you need to know. And that's just it, you know, when you seek therapy, it's just all about getting the answers from within yourself. Because you have all of the answers already. You really do. And you know yourself better than anyone else. So you just have to go within to extract that information. I mean, I'm at a point in my life, at this point in my life, you know, as a 36-year-old man, I have a pretty good relationship with myself. And I know myself very well. You know, I have quite a strong self-awareness. And that's really the point that you want to get yourself to, because you know, being around narcissists, you lose your sense of self. And they can just dictate things to you. They can tell you what they want you to think about yourself. So that's really it, you know, it's about going within to get the answers. They want you to seek validation from the outside. Because the outside is going to distort everything and lie to you. They don't want you to know the truth because the truth is against them. Stormy says they leave when they're fresh out of money after bleeding you. Yeah, that's how it is for many of them. Especially these days, a lot of it is about money. And, you know, it's always been about power and control, but that didn't always revolve around money specifically. But now that's what a lot of it is. That's what these narcissists are doing. And, you know, even then the money is just to get more attention. Because, you know, that's how they feel, isn't it? It's what's the point having all of the money if you're not getting any attention from it? Aaron Michael says, I do have to admit, you seem more at peace than almost anyone I've seen. Cheers to you, Chris. Yeah, you know, I've had to master it. I mean, you know, I am that guy where it's like, I've dealt with so many situations, I've been provoked so many times, where it's like, even if I was just standing here right now and a girl just came along and started backing it up on me, I would just still be standing here like nothing is happening, because I've encountered so many experiences, so many provocations, so many triggers, that it's like being at war, you know. It's like another bomb goes off, so what? What is that, like the 210th bomb this day? Or that's how I look at it. So that's how I'm able to be so much at peace. It's because I'm just so used to it. And you know, I've already experienced things at such extreme levels, to the point where it's like, there's nothing that anyone can do which is greater than what's been done to me before. And when you get to that point, you've won. You're in control. So that's really it in many ways, is that you want to fail very fast. You want to lose as much as you can in the beginning, and to feel betrayed, violated, because then the next time you're not so shocked. The next time's it's nothing in comparison to what you went through before. And other people sense that. They can feel, they can see that they're never going to get that level of control over you anymore. Some people might still think that they can, but that's just a delusion. It's in their minds. And what I say to that is, yeah, all right, you believe what you want. You know, let them be delusional. That's nothing to do with me. That doesn't take anything away from me if someone else wants to be delusional. Like I said, I don't have to prove a point to anyone. But what I do is I prove a point to myself every day. Yvonne Severson says, stalking, damaging your things, cars. I had my inflatable hot tub sliced to pieces, screen sliced, tire slashed. It's insane. Yeah, you can't have them around anything of value. We have to learn, you know, to never let these people in our home, never let them in your car, never leave them around your things, because they will destroy them. They don't know what it's like to have something of value. They don't know what it's like to appreciate anything in life. And that's how you should never trust them with anything valuable. I don't know, sometimes it's like, you know, we want to share with them. You know, we have valuable things, or we see that, you know, they don't really have anything, and we want to think, it's like, you know, maybe they'd really appreciate this. maybe this would make them see life in a new light. But no, it's not going to work that way. There's a reason why certain people don't ever have things of value, because they don't know how to appreciate it or recognize it. And that's how you got to think, like it says in the Bible. Cast not your pearls into swine, lest they trample them. Don't share valuable things with narcissists. Just keep it to yourself. Maybe Ray says he checked all 9 boxes. That's just it, a lot of these narcs. They're thinking like as a man they tick all of the boxes. It's like, yeah. Yeah, you tick all the boxes, all right. All the boxes of narcissistic personality disorder. Can't ever tell them that though. But that's really what it's like. Yvonne Severson says they're evil. And if you're an empath, you're screwed. Empaths and narcissists are like magnets to each other. I mean, I think that's only because of the illusion that they give us. If we could see who they are realistically, then we would be repelled. So I think it's only because they manipulate us. But yeah, they're attracted to our love, our light. They want us to give our energy and power to them, because it makes them feel good about themselves, because we feel good about ourselves by not being around them. And so they love it when you give that to them. It fuels their illusion. It makes them feel alive. Shay says if it wasn't for their mask, they know damn well you wouldn't be around them. It's all an orchestration. Oh, it is. They know how to plan and coordinate the elements of a situation to produce their desired effect. It's all a stage. It's all a show. And yeah, they love to be the star. They love to put on a performance. But that's all it is. And that's how you got to look at it, when you're around a narcissist. If you're around them for whatever reason, you have to see it as though you're watching a movie rather than seeing real people. And you got to get ready, when, like in any movie, something bad happens in the middle. And then sometimes you get a happy ending, and then the credits roll. You got to get up off your seat. You got to be prepared for that when you're dealing with a narcissist, because they're not like normal people. Sentinel 87 says, yeah, the gang stalkers are always showing up, even when you try to be alone. You see them, but quietly ignore and move around them. Yeah, it's because they know you don't want anything to do with them. And that's the psychology of it. It makes them want you more because you don't want to or need them. They're just a nuisance. They're just a hassle to you. That's what makes them want to be around you and want to get your attention. But yeah, they're never going to be any good for us. But we're always going to be more use to them than they're ever going to be of any use to us. I mean, they're good as like a test subject. They're someone you can study. You never want to get your emotions involved with narcissists. Stay emotionally detached and see them logically. Imagine you're like a research scientist just taking notes. That's the kind of mindset you got to be around when you're around them. Kim H says he would buy crap on Amazon almost every day like it was Christmas, wasting money. I know what that's like. Every day just buying stupid stuff, unnecessary things. Just constantly looking for an excuse to shop, especially with money that isn't even theirs. And again, it's because of their feelings of emptiness. That's why they've got to hoard all of this stuff. They've got to have all of these mindless things. It's a part of their grandiosity. But yeah, I'm gonna have a little walk around and just enjoy the trees and the cats. But I really enjoyed talking with you today and reading your comments, everything. But yeah, don't forget to drop a comment down below as well. Let's get the conversation started in the comment section. I am reading your comments every day, and if you have any questions, I can answer them there. And also, you know, just share your experiences with each other. We can all learn from each other on here. Even though I've been doing this now for over 7 years, researching about narcissism, I still learn new things from people every day. And give this video a thumbs up if it was helpful for you. If you're new here, subscribe. And also click all notifications so that you will be notified when I upload new videos or go live in the future. If you would like guidance or support in your healing journey, you can book a one-on-one with me by going to my website. It is narcsurvivor.co.uk. If you would like to support the channel, you're welcome to donate by going to my PayPal. It's paypal.me/narcsurvivor. And yeah, I'm also available on Instagram. You can follow me there. It is Narc Survivor YouTube. Got the links down below in the live chat. Thank you, Mimi Reese. So yeah, thank you all for joining me today at the park. And I'll talk to you in another live video very soon.